Okay, so today we are looking at Mythic Bastionland, which I'm super excited about. This is by Chris McDowall. So yeah, let's just get straight into it, okay? I'm gonna start with, okay, so I know my voice isn't necessarily got the right gravitas to read the mythic stuff, but I'll give it a go anyway, because it would be nice to set the atmosphere of the story, wouldn't it? So let's see. On cold mist and hills, beast wisdom and fell. In holdings and havens, the vassals dwell. Seers know the all, the start and the end. Myths hushed aloud, to which truths must bend. Aside vagabonds on Sneckaline trails, knights render these stories wrenched from their veils. For the oath, for the glory, through sorrow and ache, the city, that quest to which no knight can make. Okay, so yeah, we just want to get straight down into it and start making a knight, basically. So knights have 3 virtues, roll for each. Okay, so we've got vigor, clarity, and spirit. So vigor for our strongnesses, clarity for our mentalnesses, and spirit for our sort of personality and stuff. So let's go and write that down. And we need to roll a d12 and a d6. So I'm going to roll for vigor. First of all, let's see what we get. We get a 2 and a, what's that, a 9? A 9? Okay, so 9, 10, 11. So we get 11 for vigor, okay. Which is roughly average. Okay, so now clarity, let's roll that. We get another 2 and a 1. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm going to say that if we're ever rolling a 1 when creating a character, I am going to have a reroll on that because that's abysmal. Okay, so let's go again. We get, it's 12. Okay, we got the opposite. So we got 12, 13, 14. Well, that saved us. That was lucky. That saved us. Okay. And then spirit, we have a 6 and an 11. Oh my goodness. Okay, that was almost the maximum possible. Boom. Okay. So we have a knight of average strength, slightly good mentality, and very good personality and such like that. Okay. And then we want to roll their guard, which is how good they are at avoiding taking damage. So let's put the guard a 5. Okay. Every knight has a dagger, torches, rope, dry rations, and camping gear. Okay, so we'll just generically know that for now. But this is the most important thing. Every knight has sworn the oath. This is the oath, okay? It says, seek the myths, honor the seers, and protect the realm. So that is very important, okay? So yeah, I've written that down as our oath because that's important and that's sort of the guiding principle of being a knight in the realm, okay? So, and also because we're just going to basically be on our own, I think we should also have a squire along. I think it's cool to have a squire along with your knight. So let's take a look at those. They are 2d6 for each virtue and 1 guard, okay? We got 8 for their vigor, 5, 6, 7, 8 for their clarity, okay? What else? 3, 4, 5, okay? So they're not very like, but that's fine because our knight is super, and they also have 1 guard as well, okay? And then we get to roll a d6 for their extra equipment as well. So let's see what they get. We got a 6. They have 3 javelins. Okay, that's pretty cool. Okay, I went and drew some javelins for them to carry around as the squire as well. Okay, so now we have that. Now we actually need to go and choose roll. We need to roll our type of knight that we are. So let's go and see. We're going to roll for that. We need our d6 and our d12 again, and we'll roll those and we'll see what type of knight we end up with. Okay, so we get a 3 and a 1. Okay, so 3 and a 1. So we can see in the top corner here we have the dice, and we got the type of the dice that we have. So we've got the square and the shape thing. So here's 3 and 2. So if we go back, we should have 3 and 1. So we get the story knight. Okay. That's a pretty perfect choice for what we're doing today, story night. So yeah, that's just straight up cool. At last, I'm here. The one you were waiting for. The one behind the words. Okay, that's cool. That's me because I'm making the video about the book, right? Okay. So, property, they get a crook blade. Okay, so where's my pen? I'm not too sure what a crook blade is, but I drew like a shepherd's crook or something. So something like that. I could see that they've got some cool little things on their blade there. So that's my sword, basically. Then they have some mail, like chainmail, and a bronze-studded brigandine. I don't really know my medieval equipment warfare, to be honest with you. Let's just go to the Book of Stories. I'm more confident with that. Okay, it's the Tome of Legends. That's great. That's just what we want with the story night. Okay. And yeah, the book is obviously really cool because there's loads of different types of knight, like the shield knight and the whip knight and all these different types of knights. So we could have rolled any knight at random, but we're going to go with the story knight because that's just super cool to have. And we can have a random story. So it is a d6 here. Here's our other d6. So let's roll those. We got a 5 and a 4. So the story is a nonsense story with reincarnation. Okay. So that's cool. We've got our story, and again, if we were to choose a different knight, they would have a different random thing that they'd be using, but we're going to go with our story. So let's see, it says here, the Weaver of Fate, just before night falls, tell a story related to a nearby place, noting 2 details, past, present, or future. The referee secretly chooses one of them to be true. This can only be performed once per location. Okay, that's pretty cool. So we can make up a story, and it turns out that one of those things happens to be true, which is useful because we can shift the main story in our sort of own direction, can't we? So that's pretty cool. And we also have a sinister steed. I don't know why the horse is so sinister, but there we go. I have absolutely no idea how to draw horses, okay? So what should we do? Nobody can draw horses, right? I think he should be like a black horse because there's something sinister about him. I'm not entirely sure why he's so sinister. I also want to see down here we've got a name. Abbott? Abbott. Okay, so I think we should take that name and use that for our Squire. I just thought that might be kind of fun to do that. Okay, so we can have Abbott, the Squire, and then what I'll do is I'll roll another knight actually for our name, and we can pick another name, but we also need to look at our passion, so showmanship. We can actually heal our spirit when we deliberately draw unwanted attention, which is pretty cool because we also have lots of spirit as well, so that's really, really great. That's the kind of exact kind of knight that we are, so yeah, it's looking pretty cool so far, right? Alright, yeah, so let's get a name for our knight. So we'll go ahead and roll another random thing. So we got a 4 and a 10. So let's go to that. Okay, 4 and 10, we've got the Dusk Knight, but I'm going to go straight to the name. Okay, Roos. Roos? Okay, that's a bit of a weird name. I think I'm going to go for another one. I'm not entirely sure. I don't really feel that fits at the moment. So let's go for another one. We got a 6 and a 7. Okay. Okay, we have the Weaver Knight. Okay. Prior. Yeah, Prior is a kind of a nice name. So let's do with that. So, Prior. Okay. So that's our name. It's actually Sir Prior because we're a knight, right? Sir Prior. And Sir, we're going to take that to mean entirely gender neutrally in the story, so anybody can be a sir regardless of a gender. It doesn't have to be a male thing. So yeah, we have Sir Prior, the story knight. Actually, we should need to write that down, right? So now that we have our knight ready to go, so the game, the book does suggest that we have a map already made and we can explore the realm of the map. But for the sake of the video, we're just going to basically randomly make everything because we can just get straight to it randomly. So we got these nature tables. So let's pick some of these. I think I'm going to pick a wonder here and maybe a weather, and we'll see what realm that we're going to be traveling into at the very beginning of our adventure and the beginning of this kingdom, I guess, when we explore as our knight coming into it for the first time. So let's roll a d6 on this wonder table. We get a 1. So we got pleasure or light. So let's go with light, something light. And then should we go with some weather here as well? Got a 5. We got thin and mist. Okay, by light, we're using it as an element. So light as in, sunlight, mist. So sort of a golden, I'm getting the image of like a goldeny mist kind of thing as we come into the realm for the first time. I think that's a really cool image. The story knight riding in with their squire into the realm of the sort of the light goldeny mist or something. So, okay, I've not done a very good job of conveying that in the picture there, but we're coming into the realm of light golden mist and stuff. So I think that's a really cool image. So we'll do that, and then we can actually give ourselves a landmark here. So we'll roll a d6 and we'll figure out what landmark we've got as we come into the light mist. So we can have a 6, which is a ruin. Okay, so it says remnants of the past echo the future. These hint at a random myth, not currently active, though it may return. Okay, so we'll deal with that. So we want to generate a ruin. So how do we do that? We do, again, our d6 and our d12. So we'll roll those, and we get a 3 and a 2. Okay, so 3 and 2. Okay, 3 and 2. We come to a knight. We don't care about the knight. We want to look at this here. So this is the myth side of the page, and we're going to go down to the ruin. We get a bloody battlefield. Oh my goodness. Okay, I think that might be a little bit too harsh of a contrast. What do we think? Let's roll another one and see how it comes up and see how we feel about it. And then we'll see about that. Okay, so I'm going to roll another one. 6 and 4. Okay, let's go. All right, 6 and 4. Okay, so over here we have the Inferno, but we want this a scorched farm. Blimey! So it's all a bit harsh so far. I was wondering if we might get something that lent into the subtle atmosphere of this place. But yeah, all right, well, we'll go with a bloody battlefield then. So it's definitely a contrast to the light golden mist to go straight to the bloody battlefield. And indeed, the bloody battlefield will hint at the myth. So let's put that in. We're traveling along. We entered the realm for the first time, but we come across this bloody battlefield cast over with this golden mist. It's an atmospheric contrast, isn't it? So because we got a ruin, this battlefield is going to be hinting at our first clue, I guess, to our first myth. So let's roll a random myth again, and we'll see. We've got a 5 and we got a 1 and a 5. And so the myth we get is the wyvern. Okay, this is very interesting. Okay, so it says, all jack-a-jaw and neck a knotted string, all fess a wing and tail a baned sting. Okay, so the bloody battlefield is going to be hinting at the first omen of the wyvern. So this is the story. These are the story beats of this myth, basically. And so the first omen is a crowned stag crawling and poisoned. Its antlers are known to burn scaled beasts. Okay, that's a very interesting clue, right? That's a very interesting clue. So on the bloody battlefield, we can have our crowned stag. Okay, remember when I said I didn't know how to draw a horse? Well, now we don't know how to draw a stag. It's okay. It's supposed to look a bit dead. It doesn't really. Nobody will know. It is basically ill. It is basically poisoned. So it looks like it has been attacked by something, which we wouldn't know that it is the wyvern, right? We wouldn't necessarily know that right now. Although there might be signs for it on the battlefield. How about we make a roll and we see if we can discern some clues or something. So we want clarity for that, clarity of mind. So let's do that. We're going to get a dice out. Here's a dice out. And we just want to roll equal to or under that and see what we've got here. Okay, so, well, there we go. We got exactly 14. So yes, let's say we're able to discern some clues and I don't know how much we know about the wyvern necessarily at the moment because we're just kind of pulling this out randomly. But definitely the antlers are known to burn scaled beasts. I mean, it implies that the stag is still alive, so I don't necessarily want to harvest its horns at the moment. But for now, I think that just sets up an interesting clue for where we may or may not be going next. So let's just roll one more area that we're going to travel to, and then we'll wrap it up for now. But I think that's a really cool way to start the story going. Here we are at these tables again. So let's just pick some random ones. What should we do? Should we pick an otherworldly one? Let's roll on that. Dead or desert? Okay, dead or desert. Let's add that to something. How about something over here? A land or landscape or something. 1, a barren or a marsh. Okay, well, I mean, it's going to have to be sort of a barren desert, really, isn't it? It's going to have to sort of be a barren desert. So that would be our next location. And how I'm envisioning this light golden mist, maybe this light gold mist isn't actually as positive as it at first seems, because I'm feeling that I get the image of now this sort of barren desert. It would sort of be made up of the golden grains of the deserty sand, you know what I mean? And I feel like that gives the impression that maybe things aren't quite what they seem at first. You know what I mean? Okay, so yeah, we'll move over to this barren desert, and it can still have that golden atmosphere to it, but things are more, well, I mean, it's a desert, so, and yeah, let's go ahead and roll us one of these landmarks again as well. Okay, so we've got a 3, 1, 2, 3, a monument, a site of inspiration. Travelers may rest here to restore their spirit. Okay, that's pretty interesting. So let's give ourselves a little monument and see what we get. Oh, we're going to roll this again. We've got a 2 and a 4. Okay, all right, 2 and a 4. And if we look down at the monument right down here, we have a cleaved mountain. I think that's pretty cool. Okay, so now that we've got our cleaved mountain at our barren desert, actually the book does talk about barriers and things, and barriers is like an impassable section of the map or of the journey, basically. So I feel like this desert, one of the edges of this desert, I guess, would make for a good barrier. So maybe we could come to this cleaved mountain, but then the expanse across the desert would mostly be impassable at our current position. So I think that would make a good barrier, but it would also make a good place to end our day and end our story for now. So this cleaved mountain. So we're going to do the best thing, right? Because if we just go back to the story night, remember we have our Weaver of Fate thing, which says just before night falls, we can tell a story related to a nearby place. Okay, so yeah, let's say this is just before nightfall and we can do our storytelling in a nearby place. Now, obviously, the bloody battlefield is particularly an interesting nearby place, but I think that I want to know about the cleaved mountain and stuff. So yes, if we're going to do 2 details, one of them will become true necessarily. So let's take a look. Yeah, let's go back to these tables. And remember, we got our story of nonsense and reincarnation. So I feel like, what's pretty nonsense? Food is pretty nonsense. So should we roll a random food and see if it will help us with our storytelling? Okay, we've got a 6. What is that? Oh wait, it's not a D6, it's a D12. We've got a 10. Bread. Okay, something bread. So let's roll on another table. What should we do? Drama? Let's try a drama table. Okay, 6 is disguise. Okay, and ambition. I don't know, some bread disguise or something? I mean, that is pretty nonsensical. Let's pick something else over here, maybe. So we're going to say that somebody's disguising something in some bread or something, hiding something in some bread. I don't see what that's got to do with the cleaved mountain, but this is the story that we're going to have, right? So what about something over here? Let's take a look at this task or something. 7, break or ruin. Okay, what else do we have? 5, retrieve and a monument. Okay, well, this mountain is a bit of a monument, isn't it? So let's say something like, inside the bread, they have one of those, like, Maybe it's some kind of blade or sword or something that changes size or something. So they're hiding it in the bread, and then they're going to travel to this mountain and basically cleave it in two. Okay, they're going to whip out this thing, and then it's going to just be a massively huge, massively huge sword or something. That's pretty nonsensical, right? And then they're going to cleave it in two. So that's the first part of the story. Let's take a look at some kind of holding or keep or something like that. We've got a 9. It's unfinished. Okay, let's roll something else. Yes, 9. Beacons. Unfinished beacons. And, okay, so maybe they were making some guiding light or something on top of this mountain, right? So they were making some beacons that were unfinished, and maybe that was to draw something from across the desert, or maybe it wasn't a desert historically, maybe it was like a lake or something historically, and it was to draw something across. But whoever was hiding this thing in the bread, they're probably going to be the hero of the story, because that's the nonsense part of it, right? The hero of the story cleaving the mountain and destroying the beacons. So the beacons were probably something that the villains in the story had. So we've got our two parts of the story. The one part of the story is that the cleaving blade was hidden and was used to destroy the mountain. That was one part of the story. The other part of the story is that the mountain used to have some beacons on it, which are now since destroyed, and those beacons were used to call or aid something from across the way that may be harmful to our heroes. How about that? So those are the two things. All right, so we don't have time to tell the entire story right now, but I think that sums up what the story is going to be about if we were to tell a tale all about some hero and the mountain and the destruction of the beacons that were probably some kind of dark power or something, I don't know. So one of those two things would end up being true, but we don't know which one. That there were beacons here to call something that have since been destroyed, or that the mountain was cleaved into by some humongous hidden blade or something like that. So one of those two things could be true. But yes, I think that's a good place to end our story, end our adventure for now. So yeah, let me know what you think. I guess that's pretty much it. That's pretty much our tale. We've come to this end of the desert, and we can have a little rest here tonight after our storytelling. But yeah, basically, that's it. That's Mythic Bastionland. So yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if you had a good time with our adventures, and if we should continue our adventures. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with what we've done today, and it's a good story. And yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next time. Okay, goodbye.